Hey, what's going on? Ladero Hopkins here, and I hope that you have enjoyed the Sales and Leadership Bootcamp. We've had a lot of fun putting this together. And right now, we're going to take the mask off and give you 5 tips to get connected to your sales career. Now, I can't tell you how many times I hear the words, hey man, how do I get in sales? How do I get connected? What can I do to get this type of sales job? I'm really interested in getting into sales. Let me tell you guys a secret. This whole conversation is going to be around the word getting connected. Okay. We have to learn how to get connected to the right things. Okay. So the number one thing I want you to do is know that you are already a salesperson. I am a firm believer that we are all salespeople, period. Just by our behavior, just the way we communicate with others. I'll give you some examples. A mother trying to get their kid to eat their vegetables is a salesperson. A coach trying to motivate their team during halftime that's down by 20 points, they're a salesperson. I mean, we can go on and on and on and think about people that have influence over outcome or people that have influence over other people to persuade them to do things. I mean, people that are likable. They're salespeople. They're selling an image or they're selling flavor. They're selling sauce. They're selling whatever. They're salespeople. We all sell in our own little way. So the number one thing that I want you to do is know that you are a salesperson, excuse me, no matter how you slice it in some kind of way. We've been selling our whole, hey mom, can I have 15 more minutes outside with my friends? I'll do this, this, and that. We've been negotiating since we were babies. We're little baby salespeople. So remember, identify with being a salesperson. That's the number one thing. Identify. How can you be something that you don't identify with? So remember, you are already a salesperson. And once you start realizing that you're already a salesperson, take a step back and look around. Start having different conversations, okay? And don't think of like sales as a sleazy salesman or whatever. Think of sales as a deeper connection to the conversation you're trying to have. So if you're trying to win someone over, or I do a talk on persuasion and influence in the workplace, right? And you would be surprised how many different people, especially accountants and engineers, do not identify themselves as salespeople until I give them examples. At the end of the day, if you're trying to cause an outcome and influence others to think your way, you are a salesperson. So start looking at your conversations. If you have a significant other, start looking at those conversations. If you're talking to your kids a certain way and trying to influence them to do certain things, start paying attention to those conversations. You're already getting a lot of practice selling yourself. Think about all the times you have sold yourself. So again, number one is know that you are already a salesperson. Now, number two, be yourself. This is one of my favorite tips of all time, but be your best self. And some people don't recognize what their best self is in certain situations. And I'll give you a great example. Now, personality tests, are not the end all be all to getting a job. But in a sales realm, I love personality tests, not just because they're like horoscopes and they tell you everything about your life. They give you great adjectives to describe who you are to others, and it sets yourself apart. So the first thing you need to understand is be yourself, but know yourself. There's like 80% of the people that I talk to that have never taken a personality test. When we go to these sales events and we're doing all these events, you'd be surprised how many people can't name 3 or 4 adjectives about themselves. So really, really quick, 3 really good personality tests that you guys can take at your own convenience is the DISC assessment. That is really thorough when it comes to communication. It'll kind of tell you your sales communication style. It'll identify other people's communication styles around you. It's a lot of knowledge. It's great. There are ways that you can get that through NSN. We can talk about that on another video. But at the end of the day, that's a great thing because it helps you better understand yourself and connect with yourself and how you communicate and also how you communicate with others and maybe how some people don't like to be communicated to, right? You got to understand that you have to be a student. I always tell people, always be a student. Be a student first because you can learn from everyone. I believe that everyone is my teacher, but the number one person that you need to check, the number one person you need to know and identify and understand is yourself. You need to have a deeper connection to yourself, and the DISC assessment can do that. Another book that I like to talk about is Discover Your Self Strengths or Discover Your Strengths. It's also an assessment done by Gallup. You can get that at gallup.com. It's a really great assessment. It talks about your strengths. So whenever you're in conversation with someone, it'll give you your top 5 themes or your top 5 strengths, and it identifies what you're really good at. Now, I'm not going to go in depth about that. But again, when I talk about being yourself, know yourself because you got to have different audiences. Your best self with your significant other may not be your best self with a decision maker. So these personality tests and things that I'm telling you guys, they're just great conversation starters. They're great to put some of this stuff on your resume. And really at the end of the day, it gives you a different way to identify yourself to others when you're at these events or when you're in interviews. One of my favorites, and this is the last one I'm going to give you guys, is How to Fascinate. You can go to howtofascinate.com. I actually turned out to be a catalyst, which is the same exact thing as Sally Hoghead. That's her name. It's always chop her name up. Hoghead. That's her name, Sally Hoghead. And howtofascinate.com is a great assessment because it doesn't just tell you your strengths. It actually tells you how others see you. So it really allows you to fascinate others. For example, my primary strength was innovation, and my secondary is passion. And if you guys haven't noticed, if any of you know me, I'm very passionate and I'm always coming up with creative things. But then there's adjectives associated to the catalyst and all those other things. I'm not going to go through all of those. But when you have all these adjectives to describe you that you're probably not using on your resume and you're probably not using in regular conversation, it is a gold mine of knowledge for yourself. If you've noticed, we haven't even got to the customer. We haven't even gotten to the audience because we're talking about connection. And guys, I really want you to get connected. But the first person you have to get connected to is yourself. Again, identify yourself as a salesperson. I believe that we're all salespeople, just at different levels and different strengths. But the number 2 thing, again, is be the best version of yourself for that situation. Yeah, be yourself. That's great. But are you being your best self? And I think that in a time crunch, or if you have an interview, or if you're meeting with someone or some decision makers, or you're just trying to get better at communicating yourself, selling yourself, personality tests are the way to go. And those top 3 are the ones that I would use. Definitely something that I feel more people should do more of. I don't think people talk about personality tests enough, but not to other people. I mean, like reading them and knowing what they are. You know, the team and I did the DISC assessment not too long ago. And most of the people on the team was like, hey, this is like 80 to 90% right. This is accurate. So if they identify like, hey, a lot of this stuff is accurate, then of course, as a leader, I'm going to read up and down their behavioral stuff, their personality stuff, because I want to serve them. We're going to get into serving a little bit later in another step, but you have to identify yourself. You have to identify yourself as a salesperson, and you have to get a deeper connection with yourself. Because if you do that, you're able to have better communication with decision makers and other people around you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go to is step 3, which is know your audience. Now, this is a no-brainer, right? Know your audience. You always say it all the time. Everybody always says you got to know your audience, identify your audience, blah, 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 blah. But remember number two, know yourself. And then guess what? We're going to know your audience, and then we're going to apply what we know. Guys, it's 2020, about to be 2021. We already know the disconnect that 2020 has brought us. It's no longer feasible to just know that that's Bob from accounting. That type of connection won't work anymore. It's really feasible to know that Bob from accounting has a wife and 3 kids. One of them is about to graduate from high school, and he's allergic to garlic. Now, I know that's a weird analogy to give on a sales call, but what I'm really saying is that analogy is the same mentality a lot of people that are trying to get in sales, they have. They only identify a Bob from accounting. And what I mean is they only identify a person's name and their title. Oh, that's Will. He's a director of such and such. Oh, that's Sharon. She's an area sales director for such and such. Well, if we only identify those people with their title and their name and nothing else, then most people that are trying out for that sales job or trying to get into that sales career are on the same playing field. Remember, identify as a salesperson, know yourself, connect deeper with yourself, know yourself front and back, be able to sell yourself, and then know your audience, but know them at a deeper level. We know a lot of information. I've read all those books behind me, but do I apply everything? That's why it says know your audience and then what? And then apply and then learn more. There's nothing wrong with learning more. There's nothing wrong with knowing who you're going to interview or maybe getting somebody's card, checking them out on LinkedIn, maybe Googling them, whatever it takes. You would be surprised how much commonality you have with people when you first get a deeper connection with yourself and then try to get a deeper connection with them. And I'll be honest with you guys, this is a side note on this, but there are a lot, and I mean a lot of decision makers, especially in the sales arena, that take those personality tests. If you're upper management, 9 times out of 10, you have taken something like the DISC assessment, how to fascinate, or knowing your sales strengths. Trust me, I was in sales for 15 years. Really, I've been in sales my whole life, but I've taken the DISC assessment twice, and I've taken how to fascinate twice, and I've taken discover your sales strengths like 5 times. So I'm telling you, it's going to be hard for you to run across a decision maker that doesn't know about those personality tests. And the beauty of it is the more you understand how to deeper connect with yourself and sell yourself, you can identify more things that you have in common and start connecting the dots. Again, we're talking about connection. There's nothing wrong with connecting those other dots. Set yourself apart. Okay. Now, number 4, near and dear to my heart. I know people don't look at it like this, but selling is serving others, period. If you're a car salesman, guess what? That customer is coming in there because they need to purchase a vehicle to get from A to B. Now, you may sell all the features or you may do whatever, but you are there to serve them. I have been serving for the National Sales Network for over a decade. And the reason I say that is because I have seen it all. I never have really looked for a job opportunity, just more of an opportunity to help others in their sales journey, in their sales career. And I've seen it all. I've seen great, I've seen not so great, but I've had the opportunity to serve so many different personalities. And I have a passion for people. I mean, I have a passion for communication and behave and the way people behave and the psychology of behavior. I just love all that. But the one thing that I know about sales is that it's serving. Selling is serving. And once you realize how deeply connected you can get with yourself and then start identifying your audience, like really knowing your audience, really knowing those decision makers, really identifying with yourself, like in tip 1, that you're a salesperson all the time. And it doesn't have to be a dirty word. It's not a bad S word. Selling is okay. It's a good thing. Turn it around, flip it around, and have better conversations with people. Have a deeper connection. A great salesperson has deep connection. I talk about that in my book. I talk about that in my course. It's all about the connection. But the number one person, again, I'm going to reiterate this, is to get a deeper connection with yourself. Okay. And once you do that and you start knowing your audience and identifying your audience and then selling value, and everybody talks about this, every salesperson in the world talks about adding value. All you're doing is connecting the dots anyway. So when you're serving others, of course, you're adding value. Just like I gave the example of the car salesman, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what you think of a car salesman. They're there to serve you and add value. Okay. So even if you're trying to get into a sales career, remember those first two tips, all about you. The rest of it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the audience. It has everything to do with the customer. It has everything to do with you serving. So not how can I sell to you, but how can I serve you? That's the mentality that you should have when you're trying to get more connected to your sales career. So it won't matter who it is, a decision maker or whatever. Maybe you understand Will is a director of such and such, but he also went to the same school you did. Now you're tapping in a different conversation. Now you're a little different than other people. Maybe Amber or Sarah or Joyce or whoever is connected to the same sorority that you're in. You never know what type of connections you have with other people until you start asking those questions, right? So the last thing we're going to talk about is, you guessed it, get connected to a community of salespeople. And guess what? I just so happen to be a part of a community of salespeople. And the big thing about that is there's all kinds of opportunities in the National Sales Network Houston chapter to get mentors. You'll even hear someone offer up their time in one of the videos in the playlist, talking about, hey, if you need me to mentor you, this is my number, and you guys can check that out in the playlist. But at the end of the day, you want to be around like-minded people that are focused on the things that you desire. It's about getting connected to the network, but getting connected to yourself. And there's a video about that on the playlist as well. And again, this talk is more about really understanding that you are already a salesperson. You already need to get a deeper connection with yourself so you can have better connection with your audience, with that decision maker, whoever you're having that conversation with. It's all about getting a better connection with others. That's the way to go. And the best way to do that is to get with a community that has salespeople left and right. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Houston is one of the biggest chapters in the nation. We have the largest medical center in the world. Oil and gas is popping out here. Tech is popping out here. The financial space is popping. You name it, there's all kinds of sales opportunities out here. And there's all types of people in the Houston chapter that can help you reach your goals. You just got to connect. Okay. So if you're interested in becoming a member, you can go to the salesnetwork.org/Houston. I almost forgot it because I was going to say click the link in the description. But yeah, you can go to salesnetwork.org/Houston. You can just type that in, or you can click the link in the description. Guys, there's so much opportunity to connect, and I want to help you connect. The leadership team wants to help you grow, and we want you to tap into the people that are going to help you achieve your goals. We hope you've enjoyed the Sales and Leadership Bootcamp we put together. We really worked hard on it. Please like and share. If there's any videos that gave you value, because we're here to serve, remember, if there's any videos that gave you value, please like, share, comment, let us know. We want to get better. Okay, we want to get a deeper connection with our members and potential members. That's the name of the game. We're all about connecting. Okay, so get connected to the network. If you're interested in becoming a member, It's only $150 a year. That's right, a year, not a month, a year. Imagine what you do in a month with $150. Will it get you closer to your dream job? Will it get you closer to your dream career? Guys, I just want you to get connected to the network. You're halfway there. Look at this playlist over and over and over. The theme was sales and leadership boot camp, but boot camp is for a reason. When we think about boot camp, what do we think about? If we're not thinking about the armed forces, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about running hills and jumping jacks and push-ups and sit-ups, where you can't just show up one time and get the results you want. If you got to lose 50 pounds, one time ain't going to cut it. You got to put in the work. You got to have that discipline. You got to go within. You got to go deep and dark. You got to go there and you got to get connected and you got to focus. Okay, so check the link in the description if you're interested in becoming a member of the National Sales Network. Only $150 per year. That's it. And we're going to give you exclusive job fairs. We're going to give you exclusive content and material, but we are giving you this sales and leadership boot camp for free because we want you to get connected to the network. Guys, we hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day.